Hey, how's it going? Doing back in the video, and today I'm going to be talking about how the Celtics could potentially be the sneaky team in the NBA bubble that can make a huge run and go into the NBA Finals. I'm be going into all sorts of things just like that in this video. So if you do like the video at any point, hit the like button and subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me. And let's just get right into this video without further ado, without running on too much. Just get right into this video. All right, so the first thing I'm beginning to for this video is going to be their offensive game. Now they have one of the best offensive starting fives in the entire NBA from top to bottom. It is ridiculous how good this team actually is offensively. I'm pretty sure they're ranked about the 5th or 4th best team in offensive efficiency as a team, but if you just look at their starting lineup, it gets even better. They have one of the best point guards at shooting/scoring in the NBA, who is currently averaging 21 points per game, 5 assists per game, and 4.1 rebounds per game, obviously being Kemba Walker. And then even at shooting guard, Jaylen Brown, who's currently having the best season of his entire career. He's been going off. He got that contract and he has not looked back since. He has been every bit worth that contract, having the best season of his NBA career, averaging 20 points per game, 6.4 rebounds per game, and 1.1 steal per game. And then another player who's having the best season of his career, probably one of the top 15 players in the entire NBA right now, Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum has been an absolute beast this year for the Celtics, averaging 23.6 points per game, 1.4 steals per game, 7.1 rebounds per game. And then you also add players like Gordon Hayward and Daniel Theis. This team is going to be very, very hard to guard because Jayson Tatum already has shown tons of leadership capabilities. In just his rookie season, everybody knows he was able to go on that crazy run in the NBA playoffs where they were only stopped in game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals against LeBron James led Cleveland Cavaliers, and that was in his rookie year with no Kyrie Irving and no Gordon Hayward. So extremely impressive stuff. And offensively, this team, also being led by Brad Stevens, is going to be one of the best scheme-wise teams and also one of the most talented teams. Because Kemba Walker, even before he was with the Boston Celtics, let's be honest, Kemba Walker has always been a problem and has always been one of the best offensive guards in the NBA. And the only reason he's not talked about more and hasn't made more All-Star teams is because, well, he was on the Charlotte Hornets, who, let's be honest, aren't the greatest team. By not the greatest, I mean bottom of the team every single year, bottom of the NBA. So Kemba Walker on an actual good team, we're now seeing how effective he can actually be. And with people like Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum developing very nicely, having the best years of their career, is very interesting to see how good this team is going to be. And Gordon Hayward has also been improving a ton. He's been recovering very well from his injury and is currently having his best year since his injury out of the 2 years he's been back. He's starting to look more and more like the old Gordon Hayward that they thought they were getting from the Utah Jazz. And then Daniel Theis is also a nice solid big man to have on your roster. He's nothing great, but Enes Kanter is also a good backup center who's very good offensively off the bench, and they just have a lot of very decent / good offensive players in their entire team, and it is very impressive to see how good of a team they are when they're fully healthy with this starting 5 at full strength. Alright, and the next reason for this video is going to be their playoff experience / prior playoff success. Now, what we obviously know already, Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, they have not missed the playoffs since joining this Boston Celtics team. Ever since they've been entered in the NBA, they have never once missed the NBA playoffs in their entire career. But not only have they not missed the entire playoffs at all since they've gotten in the NBA, they have had a lot of playoff success as well. As obviously we all know, Jayson Tatum's rookie year, both Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward got injured and were not able to participate in the NBA playoffs, but despite that, they were still able to go all the way to game 7 of the Western Conference Finals against the LeBron James-led Cleveland Cavaliers, where they barely lost to them in that game 7. They were a few minutes away from making the NBA Finals, leading a team in their rookie year. Do you know how good you have to be? And that playoff experience is going to help them throughout this entire playoff run this year as well. And also, yes, last year they didn't have as much playoff success, but they still had a little bit of playoff success and did make the playoffs, which is still playoff experience nonetheless. So that team is still a very solid team. But not only is Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they still have other players that were part of that team as well that still have a lot of playoff experience, like Marcus Smart, Daniel Theis, Terry Rozier. Obviously he's not on the team anymore, but I mean, they still have a lot of players that were on those teams that are still currently on the Boston Celtics team right now. Like, I mean, the biggest one is probably Marcus Smart, and then obviously Daniel Theis. So those are all young guys, but they still have good playoff experience and legitimate playing time in those big games in the playoffs, so they know how to really play in the playoffs. And now also Gordon Hayward, before he came to Boston, he was the leader of the Utah Jazz, where he was able to get them to the playoffs as their leader. So he also has experience being a very high level player on a playoff team that was a good playoff team at that. Utah wasn't just the 8th seed or anything. I think they were around the 5th, maybe 6th seed going into that playoffs seed when he did lead the Utah Jazz in his last season. So I mean, and then obviously, yeah, he got injured in his first year with Boston, but I mean, since then, I'm pretty sure he's been pretty successful since joining back the Boston Celtics and recovering from his injury. And maybe that playoffs experience that he once had leading the Utah Jazz is going to be able to help the the Boston Celtics tremendously going into this, because I mean, we see a lot of teams like Philly, the Pelicans right now in the bubble, and other young teams not really having what it takes in the close games in the playoffs to really close anything out because they don't have that experience. But with players like Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Marcus Smart, Daniel Theis, Gordon Hayward, although all of them are very young, they still have, well, maybe not Gordon Hayward, but I mean, the main core of the team is extremely young, and even though they are young, they still have that playoff experience that is going to be able to push them over the edge and help them finish big games in the NBA playoffs, and might even help them make a big, deep playoff run. So, I mean, in recap, what I said in this video so far is going to be that their offense is at an elite level. Not many teams can keep up with their scoring as a starting five and how good of a starting five they have offensively, but also their playoff experience should help them a ton, not only in these bubble games, but when the playoff time actually does come in August. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what they do, but unfortunately, guys, that's me for this video. So comment below, do you agree with me? Do you think the Celtics could potentially be the biggest underdog / dark horse in these NBA playoffs? On your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like the video, hit the like button and subscribe button. It would be absolute word to me, and I hope you have a blessed day. Can I have a blessed day? So you need to have a blessed day. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.